What is going on, guys? Craig 1287 here, bringing you yet another Battlefield gameplay, this time continuing my series of post-patch showcase looking at the weapons more affected by the big patch that we had not too long ago. More so than some of the other weapons that really only were affected by the damage change and the general bullet velocity changes. This time looking at the gun that was pre-patched, widely considered to be the best long-range assault rifle, and it still is. This is the SAR 21. Now, this weapon pre-patch was considered to be the long-range king because it had such a crazy low fire rate and pretty low recoil. It actually has had its recoil even further reduced alongside a lot of the other assault rifles that I have taken a look at with the CZ805, the AUG-A3, the AR-160, all those guns that we've already looked at in this series. And this gun maintains its status as the long-range king. The only thing is, it still suffers really bad to do well at close range and even medium range. This gun, it still has that hyper low rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute, which is the primary reason it is as accurate as it is. Yes, it does have incredibly low recoil now at 16 pull to the left and right with a 18 pull up, and an incredibly low, not as low as the AR-116, but an incredibly low first shot recoil multiplier of 1.8. Compare that to something like the M416 that has a 2.2. That's a pretty significant difference. So yes, the recoil is one reason why this gun is so pinpoint accurate. It also has incredible stats when it comes to bolt spread. I'll get to that in just a bit, but I want to get back to the rate of fire because that, for me, it's the biggest standout for this gun is its accuracy at long range. But for me personally, with my play style, it's the biggest downfall because it is just so low rate of fire that it just makes it almost impossible to use at close range unless you get the drop on people or it's you and other people on your team versus an opponent and they're just happen to be shooting at somebody else, and that's why you don't die before they die. You're going to actually get a lot of assists because of this weapon. You might do a majority of the damage. You might still get kill credit. You might deal 75 or more damage and get the assist counts as kill, but you're dealing such, you're throwing bullets downrange just so slow that it's so often that people are just going to happen to get that last kill, that last bullet to hit before you do. So you're going to have to get used to a lot of assists with this gun and losing at close range engagements. That's just a fact of the matter. Now, this isn't to say that the gun cannot perform well at close range. The low rate of fire and it being a bullpup design do actually make it able to somewhat hold its own. You are going to be able to get some decent hipfire kills. Again, that low rate of fire and the bullpup design give you that better bullet spread while moving. If you're aiming down sight and standing still, something like the AR-160 is going to be a better weapon for your playstyle, I think. It obviously comes down to who you are as a player and what your playstyle is, but I feel like if you're somebody that likes to stop moving and aim down sight, the AR-160 might be a better pick. But if you do want to be on the move, if it's Conquest and you've got to get to those points real quick, then yeah, the SAR 21 is a pretty good pick because you can be on the move and you will have those better spread. It also has one perk over other bullpup weapons and long-range weapons. If you're looking at like the AUG-A3, its spread increase per shot is 0.091. Very small. That is the same spread that the AR-160 has and the CZ805. For context, the M416 has a 0.098. So you're looking at 0.091, 0.098. Alright, so again, very slight. But then you look at the SAR 21, it has a spread of 0.078. That is pretty darn significant. So not only is your gun just not recoiling all over the place, your bullets, even in full auto, you can go full auto and kill people effectively at long range. That is the biggest selling point with this weapon. You can be moving, aiming down sight, and take on DMR guys at long range. And that's a habit that I struggled with because I really like to burst fire. Typically on my weapons, I will almost always run the angled grip. Now you'll see in some of these gameplays, I don't always use the angled foregrip. In fact, while using the weapon, I stayed away from it as often as I could because, again, that recoil, the first shot recoil, all of that is so low, it almost doesn't benefit because it is a percentage-based deal. So I ran the foregrips that gave me the 15% smaller bullet spread when in full auto. And I tried to do a lot of full auto. I tried to burst very little because the weapon's the rate of fire is already so low. Bursting with this, it just lowers your damage per second, your just sheer damage output even more. And so I try to go full auto often. And this weapon is so capable of it because that low spread, that low recoil, and that low spread per shot overall, it just, I mean, it's an incredible weapon at long range. It really is. If you don't throw on a suppressor, it does have a pretty darn quick muzzle velocity. It's not as fast as the AUG A3 because that's still that weapon's one of its biggest strong suits, as it has the fastest bullet velocity out of all of the assault rifles at 670. But the SAR 21 is at 650. So you're looking at a difference only of 20 meters per second. If you compare that to the M416, it has a velocity of 600. So you're seeing a decent increase. Not the biggest defining things. That's why I'm not too big a fan of the AUG A3, is its defining factor doesn't really define it all that much. But for the SAR 21, its defining factor that it is the best gun at long range. It really is the best assault rifle at long range. You'll see here, even on a moving target at a pretty decent distance, I mean that was a good dozen meters away, I was able to pick off his feet under the riot shield, and that's not something that you can do with any other gun. The spread alone, recoil, even if you could compensate for the recoil, the spread that the bullets would be going around the point that you're actually aiming at would probably mean that most of those shots would hit at the ground at his feet or the base of his riot shield, just because they're just a few degrees off. But this gun is just so incredibly pinpoint accurate. So guys, you know, if you want something that is the most versatile gun, M416 and CZ805 probably the best bet to go. If you want something that's versatile but still capable at long range, then go with the AUG A3 and the AR-160. But if you want a gun that just can take on snipers and DMR wielders at long range, go with the SAR 21. But you're going to struggle at close range a majority of the time. So guys, check out the SAR 21. If you haven't used it, you're going to have to adjust to that incredibly low rate of fire, but you're going to notice that you hit everything at no matter what range. So guys, check out the SAR 21. It's a pretty interesting gun, to say the least. Hope you guys have enjoyed the gameplay and the commentary. I'll probably start looking at the PDWs and somewhat the carbines, but mostly the PDWs coming up soon. So hope you guys have enjoyed all of it. Have a good one. Ta-ta.